Hi, how you doing? Ryan Braswell with Local Realty, and today on Ask the Locals, I have Larry Goldstein, the owner and brewer from Spider Bite Brewery, sitting with me. And if you've followed my channel or my stories at all, you know that I am a frequenter of the establishment because they brew great beers. Larry, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Can't complain, can't complain. Weather's a little cloudy outside, but it's wonderful inside, and thank you very much for showing up
Oh
and,
no, my
and being here.
pleasure.
So we're gonna just start right off with it. Is it true the name Spider Bite came from somebody walking into a web?
Yeah, so I was the one that walked into the web. I don't like bugs. I don't like spiders. And I had a partner at the time in the brewery, and I was walking over to his house, walked through the web, and I started freaking out, and he thought it was funny. So to get him to stop laughing, I was like, "Oh, it's not funny. I got a spider bite," and the name stuck.
And there it is. And here we are now 12 years later, just celebrated the anniversary.
Right.
What's the past 12, the ride been like? Tell us a little bit about the experience.
I mean, it's definitely been fun and exciting. Meet so many people. We've traveled for the brewery, and that's always fun being in states to do different festivals. And it's just great meeting people because, unlike maybe a bar, people are excited to come and try the beer, and
It's a
it's
pilgrimage.
different. Yeah, different attitude. So it's a
Okay.
lot of fun.
What's the farthest you've traveled, or what's the farthest somebody's gone and been like, hey, I brought some spider bite stuff?
I mean, definitely around the world. I know, one of our customers just brought a few 4 packs to a friend in Spain, and
Okay.
he kept tagging the beers as he drank them. So that was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. I know the regulars and everybody there. It's just such a great family feel. A lot of people refer to it as their cheers, and being
Right.
a regular as well. I would say the same thing. We get a little rowdy sometimes. Um, Other than like PR kind of stuff, and like what's the craziest thing any regular's done that you can tell us?
Yeah.
You're not the guy. I know there are a few floating stories around.
The craziest. Trying to think what I could tell. I mean, the craziest would be when probably just when I was working behind the bar more. We would just, everybody's talking and drinking, and next thing we know, it's like 1 in the morning, and there's still a crowd there, and so it would get crazy at times from that.
Sure. Yeah.
That's the safest to tell.
I got you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, those are some of those, don't ask, don't tell. You got to be there kind of stories,
Yeah.
which is one of the things that we love about it. Because Spider Bite has a vibe. How would you describe the vibe of your brewery?
I mean, it's definitely relaxed and chill, very friendly. Everybody loves coming. I mean, Frank and Candy do such a great job behind the bar. Everybody just loves talking to them and being there.
Absolutely. So you kind of led me right into it. Other than good beer and a great staff, what is an extremely important element to a successful brewery, to running a successful brewery?
I mean, definitely the most important part's a good product, a good beer. I mean, as long as the beer is good, you shouldn't have too much difficulty.
Okay.
I mean, the staff is very important. Again with Candy, she always, she won't just stay behind the bar. If she sees your glass is empty, she'll walk out and get it. Where when I'm there, people stare at me. I'm like, "You want a beer? You know where to get it."
Well, it's kind
So
of your fault. You hired such great people
right,
to help you out. So
yeah,
everybody expects that. I love the coasters. Sometimes it's like, Larry, we doing coasters? He's like,
right,
no, I'm not doing
yeah.
coasters. He's like,
I
no,
don't
thank
do
you.
coast.
Yeah. So what got you into brewing?
I was it was so long ago, but it had to be maybe almost 30 years ago. But we were just like window shopping in downtown Atlanta at the time, and there was a sign and it said "Make your own beer," and I was like, "Wait, you can make liquor?"
You
Well,
can
yeah,
make beer?
I'll I love alcohol, so we just went in. I was like, "How do you do it?" And she's like, it was just cans at the time, the big cans of the malt, and from overseas, so everything was garbage, and she was just like, dump the can into the bucket and you're good to go. And I was like, okay, give me the kit, give me the can. And I was like, how do you make it stronger? She's like, 2 cans. I'm like, give me 2 cans. And then, it just started from there.
I love the dedication to your roots, because Spider Bite beer, it tends to be a little on the higher ABV side, which is what I like.
Right.
I love about it, and it goes right back to the original brew, which is fantastic. So now Atlanta, what brought you up to New York?
So I'm from here. I went to school in Atlanta. My wife ended up getting a good job, so we stayed. All our kids were born down there, and we were going to open the brewery down there. The laws weren't great at the time, and the guy I was going to do it with, it just didn't seem like it was going to work out.
Sure. Your business
good.
senses didn't really.
Yeah, like just, he thought he was going to be the brewer, and I was like, nah, I'm going to be the brewer. And so we decided to come back home.
Sure. Okay. And that's smart. You kind of got to have that when you're trying to run a business,
Yeah.
because in order to build a successful business, and you got to have that, kind of give and take, that rat-a-tat, so to speak, with it. So kudos to you, because it's hard enough making it anyways, and getting 12 years down the road. So how has craft beer changed over the past 12 years?
I don't know if a few things have definitely changed. It seems like most of the change is that people are discovering it. So, like when we first opened 12 years ago, like what it is now on Long Island, it was like that in other states.
Okay.
So it's evolved on Long Island, but we were very far behind.
Okay.
So that's where you see the biggest change. Where since I've been like in craft for so long, it all seems the same.
Yeah.
Like they'll experiment with crazy stuff, and then that disappears and it comes back a few years later. Sometimes with a different style name, but
Yeah, like Cascadian Dark Ale and
Yeah,
Black IPA.
right.
It's the same thing, but people they're seeking different changes
Yeah.
and stuff. What's the craziest beer you've ever done or ever wanted to do?
I don't do too many crazy beers. I guess the craziest.
Or ambitious?
Well, it's sort of like what I was about to. It was sour ale, but where we just normally I put if I do a fruited beer, everything goes in on the cold side, and this time we left half the batch warm, and so all the fruit kept going in warm to keep fermenting, and then if we would drink like traditional sour beers, we would always dump whatever was left into that into the fermenter as well.
Okay.
And then after a year,
So just keep adding some of the
Yeah.
dregs and the dregs a little bit. Okay.
yeah,
Very interesting.
and we let that go for a year.
And that's something that's not everybody knows with sour beers. You can kind of do that. It's
Right.
just a different type of fermentation. It's it's intended to sour,
Right.
funk up, and stuff like that. It's basically like a never-ending Solera project, I guess.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah.
So when you're creating your beers and you're coming up with your tap, like, is there a method to like how you assemble your tap list, or like, hey, we need this, or how do you come up with that?
I used to do it that way, but it's getting difficult. We always try and have half IPA and then half not IPA, but it's a little less than half now. Especially because we have cans to back it up.
Sure.
So like if we lose a tap of IPA, we have cans that we could serve. So, but I definitely tried and go, something not IPA light, something light, flavor and body, not so much color. And then definitely something dark and a little more full bodied. And then anything in the middle, color doesn't matter, just, like a middle body thing, whether like we have the Vienna or the Irish Red or, just
Or those
something.
Arañas like you have here?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they that's one of the things that's great, and the feedback from anybody who comes, and even people who come for the first time, they always say, there's some kind of beer for everybody there. You can have that 12% thick dark beer, Boris, which if you like craft beer and you like stouts, make sure you try Boris. And you can always get down to a lighter beer, like even like the saisons and stuff.
Right.
How many beers do you think you have in house right now? How many different varieties, cans and tap?
Probably 16.
16. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And the cans allow you to do that, which is great. And now that's kind of a little bit more of a business. You do a lot more contract brewing. Is there any reason behind that? Just for
Well,
ease?
we got to the point where we needed more beer just to keep the taps filled, but we couldn't make enough. Even if we brewed multiple times a day, we couldn't make enough for packaging.
Sure.
So we had to source that out.
Okay.
And we're not going to do half a batch, like the same beer in-house and then some just canned because it won't be identical.
Yeah, it's not the same beer
Right.
in theory, you know.
So yeah, so pretty much we can it, so we do it down in Bayshore.
Okay. Now is that the like the canning and distribution and stuff? That's something that's not too much of a challenge. Is that a big asset to your company? Is that, how you get your name out mostly?
Yes. Yes. I mean, you need the to go, you need the retail. And then as far as the wholesale side, that part needs I don't know, it needs help.
Now,
Not our help, it needs help on the distribution side. And that
Sure.
goes across the board for everybody.
Yeah, and your beers can be found in pretty much all over Long Island, right? And you distribute it out to different other states as well, or?
So we were in Jersey, we were in PA, and then like from like Rochester to Canada, but COVID took out a few of the distributors. Yeah, so they went belly up. One just shrunk down and just kept a couple large core brands. And it's hard for like a small brewery to go out of their region or their area. It's hard because the wholesale, the distributor, a lot of times wants feet on the ground. So if like we want to go to Jersey and it's a big distributor, at first they're like, yeah, because you're new. They get into every store, but then you need people on the street to sell it.
Okay, you need somebody going bar hopping.
Yeah,
to
and
different
so
distributors.
that gets very expensive. So it's hard for a brewery to do that stuff.
Okay.
So sometimes if you get a small distributor, their goal is to be on the street.
Well, one thing that I see is, every time I go somewhere, and I don't go to too many places, but when you bounce around, you see a Spider Bite, you see more Long Island craft beer around,
Right.
which is wonderful. And you're part of the Long Island Brewers Guild. You're the treasurer, correct?
Yes.
Now, what does the Brewers Guild do for breweries? Do they do anything for the community? Is there any kind of events and stuff that they help?
Yeah, so we do. We've been doing every year a charity beer for the local food bank, and all the breweries, chip in. We make a different style every year for the most part.
This year was a New England beer, right? New England IPA?
The past year.
This past year?
Yeah.
What are you guys doing this year?
I don't think it's been discussed yet.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't think it has. But then as far as for the breweries, we give support. If there's questions, the Long Island Brewers Guild hooks up to the state guild. So there's a lot of like resources. We do a farmer's market, and then there's coming up starting at, I think at the end of this month or beginning of next month, a treasure hunt. And there's about 30 breweries involved, and like a customer buys the app or the program,
Yeah.
and you get a free flight at every one of those breweries, and it's all through an app. And then by going and checking in and getting your flight, you get a treasure piece, and like the first person to get all the treasure pieces gets a grand prize. And there's events and prizes. There'll be a big party at the end of the year.
Very cool. Now, that's just through the Long Island Brewers Guild, or through?
Long Island Brewers Guild.
Oh, that's
so
that's
I
pretty awesome.
believe it's about 30 Long Island breweries participating.
I know there's going to be a few nuts running around.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
away.
yeah.
They'll just be, give me my flight real quick and be right out.
Yeah.
So what are some of the trends in craft beer? I know, for a while everybody was chasing, New England IPAs,
Right.
and smoogies, and slushy beers and stuff. What do you see coming down the road? What do you think it's going to?
It's time. It's been a couple years, so it's definitely going back to the lighter stuff. And then the New England, not the New England, the West Coast. Everybody's like, oh, I want West Coast again, and it's definitely coming back. I think a little modified, maybe definitely not towards that bitter
A
end.
little extra juice into
But
it. But
yeah, the newer hops, a little less, crystal malts, but not as bitter. Just a little bit less.
okay. What do you think of seltzers?
Yeah, they have their place.
Everything does, right?
Yeah.
One fun fact that I always love learning about you is that you're not the biggest beer drinker. You prefer bourbon, correct?
Yes.
Much more of a bourbon
It's
guy.
more efficient. I mean, I drink beer.
more efficient, yeah.
But I've had them all.
Well, regardless, whatever you're doing, your palate is amazing, and the beers that you keep creating are fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate them. I know every time I bring them to out-of-staters, they love them as well. Tell the people, are there any festivals or events that Spider Bite's going to be at coming up?
Yeah, I mean, this coming Saturday at Six Harbors in Huntington, it's called the Gold Coast Festival, something like that. But there's going to be a lot of breweries there. Spider Bite will be there. We have, I know they have a VIP hour. We'll have our 12th anniversary there for that, and then
It's delicious.
and then we'll be serving outside. I believe both of these, the Dose Mexican style lager and the Cali
Awesome.
IPA.
And one last question. I know you're a bike rider. Where's the best place to go biking on Long Island?
Right now, Ocean Parkway, the trail that goes from Captree. You could go all the way around past Jones Beach up to Merrick Road.
Awesome. Because of the weather, just the time of year, not many people. Is it not crowded? What do you?
It gets a little crowded, but it's a nice straight shot. You really don't have to stop at too many crosswalks, and round trip you could get like I think almost 40 miles.
And it's Ocean Parkway. It's beautiful out there. And listen, thank you for watching Ask the Locals. If you have any questions about Spider Bite, Larry's contact info will be in the description. If you have any questions about buying or selling real estate, I'd love to talk with you. And thank you very much to Cardinal Financial for providing us this wonderful studio and being a supporter of Ask the Locals. Thanks again and have a great day. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.